The Return of Barbarism, How Civilisations Collapse. Perhaps the greatest tragedy of the modern world is not war, poverty, or political division, but the slow extinction of something the Greeks called paideia. Paideia is often translated as education, but that really doesn't capture what the Greeks meant. To them, it was the cultivation of the whole person, the harmonious development of logos, aretē, and sōphrosynē. It was the process by which a human being became truly civilized. At the heart of paideia were three great ideals. Logos taught the mind to seek truth before opinion. Aretē taught the soul to pursue excellence before ambition. Sōphrosynē taught the individual to master themselves before seeking to master others. Together they formed paideia, the foundation of civilization itself. And when paideia dies, barbarism returns, not from beyond the borders, but from within the very structures of civilization itself. But how does a civilization begin to lose its soul? It starts when logos is drowned beneath the noise of impulse, propaganda, and endless distraction. It continues when aretē is corrupted, when honor is no longer given to wisdom, courage, and excellence, but to ambition, privilege, and inheritance. Those who should rise through merit rise instead through association. Then sōphrosynē begins to disappear. Self-restraint, balance, and mastery over desire are replaced by excess, entitlement, and the belief that personal appetite should govern the common good. Eventually, beauty is dismissed as a luxury, and truth itself becomes negotiable. And once that happens, corruption is no longer the exception. It becomes part of the system. Whenever power exists without philosophical restraint, it eventually begins to justify itself. Whenever measurement replaces discernment, appearance begins to matter more than substance. You begin to see it everywhere. Politics becomes the management of perception. Economics reduces human need to numbers. Medicine places protocol before compassion. Research serves funding before truth. Education produces qualifications before wisdom. Even language itself begins to lose its grounding. Words are stretched, repurposed, and redefined until they no longer point to enduring truths, but to whatever the consensus happens to be at the time. In this environment, influence replaces authority, and visibility replaces merit. Gatekeeping doesn't disappear, it simply becomes harder to see. It is no longer exercised openly by individuals, but quietly through institutions, systems, and incentives. And so the citizen is not openly enslaved, but gradually conditioned. Conditioned to react rather than reflect, to consume rather than contemplate, to conform rather than question. Perhaps this is what the Greeks feared more than tyranny in its most obvious form, not the barbarian who destroys the city, but the civilization that forgets what a city is for. The Greeks understood that civilizations rarely collapse overnight. They don't disappear only through invasion or catastrophe. They collapse from within, when paideia is replaced by administration, when the formation of character gives way to the management of behavior, and when the pursuit of truth is sacrificed to the preservation of systems. For barbarism no longer gathers beyond the walls, it has taken up residence in the very halls of power. The barbarian no longer stands outside the gates. He sits in parliament. He signs treaties. He drafts legislation. He decides what children will learn. He determines what may be spoken and what must remain silent. He appears on our screens each night and calls it progress. The most dangerous barbarian is not the one who attacks civilization. It is the one who inherits it without understanding it, governs it without cultivating it, and slowly dismantles it while believing he is advancing it. For what we celebrate today as progress, without paideia, may be nothing more than barbarism perfected, armed with greater knowledge, greater power, and ever more sophisticated tools. The Greeks understood a truth we've almost forgotten. Civilization isn't held together by wealth, or by power, or by technology. It's held together by paideia, and the moment paideia dies, barbarism returns. To one formed by paideia, these words require no defense. To the barbarian, they are merely strange sounds from a forgotten language, not because they are Greek, but because barbarism always begins when the language of civilization becomes foreign to civilization itself. For the barbarian cannot recognize what he has never been taught to value, nor value what he has never learned to understand.